Father, it's your will. It's your will. Take this cup away from me. In this passage, we are made to understand that he knelt down and prayed. One thing about prayer is this. There is no rigid rule that if you want to pray, you have to kneel down. But in this instance, Jesus knelt down and prayed. You can be on your head and be praying. You could be walking and be praying. But in this instance, he knelt down and prayed. He said, if it's your will, take this cup away from me. Now, this is a contradiction because from the beginning of the world, you and I know that the purpose why Jesus came to earth is to carry the sins of the world. But in this place, this passage is now saying, if it is your will, take this cup away from me. You see, God doesn't contradict himself. When he said something, it's not going to change. Sometimes you and I get into those type of things. We know the will of God. Then we are asking because we don't want to go through the process. We're not asking God. Instead of asking God for the grace to go through his will. If it's your will, Father, take it away from me. But he knew very well that the will of God is for him to go on the cross and die for the sins of the world. But here is a contradiction. Because the flesh was at work when he said this. Father, if it's your will. You and I know it's not God's will. And sometimes you and I get into some situation. And we are now going to God to change his will for us, or for God to conform to our own desires. I always like to use an example of